Namaste, welcome, and aloha. Welcome to the verse titled Bhakti Generates Detachment and Causeless Knowledge, the Direct Causal Link. In the previous verse, we learned the definition of the Supreme Dharma, unmotivated, uninterrupted devotion to the Transcendent Lord. Now, this verse reveals what happens when you practice that devotion. This verse establishes the direct causal link. Pure devotion is the cause, and intrinsic knowledge and detachment are the immediate, inevitable effects. This is a teaching about the transformative power of devotional service. Let us explore this profound verse. First, the verse in its original Sanskrit, Vasudeve Bhagavati bhakti-yoga prayojit. Janityashu vairagyam jnanam chaidahetukam. 7. These words reveal the direct causal relationship between devotion and its effects. Let us understand what they teach. Now let us go through the raw form of English translation of the verse. The translation. The application of devotional service bhakti-yoga unto Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, quickly generates both detachment and transcendental knowledge. This knowledge is unique because it is completely causeless and unmotivated by material desires. This is a statement of direct causality. Let us explore what this means. Now let us look at some core teaching of this verse. This verse asserts that devotional service is the most potent and direct method for spiritual advancement. Notice the structure, cause and effect. The cause, Bhakti Yoga applied to Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The effects. Two things arise quickly, Ashu immediately, rapidly. First effect, Vairagyam detachment, dispassion, freedom from material entanglement, not forced renunciation, not artificial detachment, but genuine, spontaneous detachment that arises naturally. Second effect, Jnanam knowledge, transcendental understanding, but not ordinary knowledge. This is ahaitukam, causeless, unmotivated, intrinsically pure. This knowledge is unique because it is not motivated by selfish desires. It arises naturally as a byproduct of love, not strenuous intellectual effort. The verse teaches that by fixing consciousness upon Vasudeva, the Supreme Being, an aspirant spontaneously develops genuine detachment from material entanglement. This process generates transcendental knowledge that is intrinsically pure and arises naturally. The verse establishes the direct causal link. Pure devotion is the cause. Intrinsic knowledge and detachment are the immediate, inevitable effects. This surpasses intellectual or ascetic endeavors in efficiency. Devotional service is the most direct path. Now let us look at some modern scientific parallels. This ancient teaching has profound parallels in modern neuroscience. First, consider the brain's reward circuitry. Bhakti Yoga functions as a highly targeted cognitive intervention, shifting the brain's primary reward mechanism away from transient external stimuli, material desires, toward an internal, self-sustaining connection. Instead of seeking reward from external sources, which are unstable and temporary, the brain learns to find reward in the internal connection with the Supreme. This is neurological reprogramming. Second, consider the default mode network DMN. The DMN is responsible for self-referential anxiety and rumination. What about me? What do I need? What am I worried about? Studies on focus practice, such as deep meditation or dedicated service, show that quieting the DMN directly corresponds to decreased emotional attachment and increased cognitive clarity. Bhakti Yoga quiets the DMN. This produces detachment, vairagyam, and clarity, jnana. Third, consider the causeless knowledge ahaitukam. This parallels the sudden, profound insights experienced when the mind moves beyond goal-oriented processing into a state of effortless flow. When you're not striving for knowledge, but simply absorbed in devotion, knowledge arises spontaneously. This is causeless knowledge. The verse teaches devotional service is the most efficient method for spiritual advancement because it directly reprograms the brain's reward system and quiets the self referential mind. Let us now move on to some practical application as it relates to this verse. How do we apply this teaching in our daily lives? First, intentionally integrate acts of service bhakti into your daily routine. Prioritize consistent, focused engagement over sporadic effort. Not occasional devotion when you feel like it, but consistent daily practice. Second, establish a short, non negotiable daily practice, focused mantra meditation or scriptural study. This acts as the direct conduit for spiritual connection. Non negotiable means it happens regardless of circumstances, like brushing your teeth. It's part of your daily structure. Third, consciously dedicate the results of professional or domestic activities to a higher purpose rather than personal gain. Reframe the motivation to be unmotivated by material desires. This immediately fosters genuine detachment. You're still doing the work, but the motivation is shifted. Not what will I get, but how can this serve? Fourth, recognize that detachment and knowledge arise naturally. You don't force detachment, you don't strain for knowledge. They arise ashu quickly as natural byproducts of devotion. Fifth, trust the causal relationship. If you apply the cause bhakti-yoga to Vasudeva, the effects will follow. This is not wishful thinking. This is a law of spiritual physics. Sixth, understand that this is the most efficient path, not the only path, but the most direct, most potent, most efficient method for spiritual advancement. Now let us look at how this verse can help our young people. For young people, this verse offers crucial wisdom about managing the stress of modern life. Focusing on bhakti yoga provides inner clarity that cuts through the stress of competitive modern life. It helps you prioritize meaningful goals over fleeting trends. This spiritual detachment acts as a shield against burnout. You can pursue studies or career growth without the anxiety of instant gratification or social media comparison. Bhakti is the ultimate life hack for minimizing stress and maximizing authentic purpose. When you shift your reward system from external validation to internal connection, you become unshakable. The knowledge that arises ahetukam, causeless, gives you clarity about what truly matters. The detachment that arises vairagyam frees you from the anxiety of comparison and competition. This is not escaping life. This is engaging with life from a position of inner strength. Now let us look at how this verse can help our older generation folks. For those with more life experience, this verse speaks to the culmination of a lifetime of learning. Having spent decades accumulating material experience, pure devotion provides the costless knowledge needed to synthesize that wisdom and to let go of attachment to past achievements or failures. Bhakti allows you to see your entire life journey with perfect spiritual perspective. You transition the focus from maintaining a legacy to preparing the consciousness for the next stage of existence. This focus grants profound peace and perspective. The detachment vairagyam that arises is not indifference, it's freedom. Freedom from the need to prove anything, freedom from the weight of the past. The knowledge jnanam that arises is synthesis. Everything you learn comes together in a unified understanding. This is the gift of bhakti in later years, perfect perspective and profound peace. In conclusion, we can say, this verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam establishes the direct causal link between devotional service and its effects. When bhakti yoga is applied to Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, It quickly generates both detachment and transcendental knowledge. This knowledge is causeless, unmotivated by material desires, and arises naturally as a byproduct of love. Integrate consistent daily practice, dedicate activities to higher purpose, trust the causal relationship. Pure devotion is the cause. Intrinsic knowledge and detachment are the immediate, inevitable effects. Thank you for exploring this verse with me. Thank you, namaste, and mahalo for joining me in this exploration of this verse. Bhakti generates detachment and causeless knowledge, the direct causal link. Now we will move on to next verse.